What's going on, all my toy collectors and Monsterverse fans out there? You know who it is. It's your boy Ox. And today we're going to be taking a look at some of the Titans from the Godzilla and Kong movies that have came out over the past few years. Now, some of these figures are older and some of these figures are brand new, just hitting store shelves. And because we're going to be taking a look at so many different characters, I'm going to try and only spend 3 minutes on each one. That way this video doesn't end up being 30-40 minutes long, okay guys? So let's unbox these really cool Titans and see if they have a place down here in the Cave of Wonders. Let's get to it. All right, now starting off with Kong first. Like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on the packaging just because this video will end up being really long. But all of the packaging is going to be the same dimensions for each one of these figures. It's just going to have different box art depending on what movie that character was in or that character was from. Okay, guys? I've already measured the packaging out for you guys. It's 7.5 inches long by 9 inches tall by 3 inches in depth. You guys can see that this Kong right here is from the new movie that just came out, Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. You can see it says Monsterverse right up there. You guys can see the name of the character we'll be looking at, which is Kong with the battle axe. Now, this is a newer Kong figure. This just hit stores. I found this at Target for about $9.99. You guys can see it says Playmates right there. Taking a look inside the packaging, really nothing. On the back, you guys can see the figure right there with his battle axe in his hand, and some of the other characters you guys can buy right there. Now, I got some of these, but I didn't want all the different Godzillas or all the different Kongs, just because I didn't want a whole bunch of the same character on my shelf. I just picked out the one that I liked the best, and I'm going to go ahead and be displaying that one, okay? Other than that, this right here is the barcode in case you guys need it. Let's go ahead and crack Kong out of the box. And here's Kong all out of his packaging. You guys can see it comes with this little battle axe right here. Now this battle axe is just brown, has like a brown handle. You can see some brown wrapping right here. And then this piece right here, if you guys seen the last two movies, you guys will know that this is a piece of Godzilla's fin that goes on the back, one of them plates that go in the back of him and ends up lighting up. And this is his little axe that's made out of Godzilla's fin right there, okay? And I'll show you guys this in his hand in a second, okay? Now I bent his knees all the way up, that way he's standing straight up. He's not crouched down. He measured out to about 6 inches tall, exactly 6 inches tall. So I don't have any other Kong figures to end up comparing him to because this is the first one I bought. I kind of skipped on some of the Jack specific ones that came out years ago and stuff. I wanted to make sure there was a bunch of figures that I could that all fit in scale together before I started buying into these movie Monsterverse figures. But taking a look at him up close, he looks really good. I know a lot of these figures, some of them are just the same sculpts over and over with different paint schemes or different head sculpts or something. But a lot of them didn't have this really good fur texture right here that you guys can see all over his back and arms and legs and stuff. And I love the fact that he's not just pitch black or not like light brown. He's more of like a really dark chocolate brown. He almost looks black, but it's more of a like a really, really, really dark brown. I love the way that looks. And then how this kind of fades in like gray and stuff right here in his chest and his face. So I really like the way that looks. Now he's mostly all hard plastic besides his hands, and that way they're a little bit softer plastic. That way you guys can bend his fingers and fit that axe inside of his hand, all right? Now let's go over his articulation real fast. Like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on each figure. His head is on a ball joint, so it does rotate all the way around, but it doesn't look up and it doesn't look down at all. His arms do come up. They do rotate right here at the shoulder. He does have single jointed elbows, but they do rotate as well at the elbow. And then his wrists do move just like that. They don't like go in or go out or nothing, but they do move. That way you can put that axe in some pretty cool poses. Doesn't have any kind of ab crutch, upper torso articulation or anything like that. It doesn't move, even though it kind of looks like it does right here at the bottom of this fur. You guys can see that line. I think that's just where two pieces glued together to make this figure into one, all right? Legs do kick up about yay far, but they don't go out that way unless you turn them and then move them out, okay? Does bend right here at the knee, and he doesn't have any kind of toe articulation, ankle pivot, or anything like that. But still, an awesome figure, man, for the $10 price point, I think. It's nice, it's heavy, it's bulky, doesn't look like it's going to break too easy. I love his face. I love the way it looks. Now, like I said, I know there's other Kong figures that have the same sculpting, but a different head. So who knows, maybe you can pop this head off, and if you have one of them other figures, you guys can pop that one on. Because I know there was another figure that came out. Looks kind of like this, a little bit different color, and he has that gauntlet on his hand that he used in that new Empire movie, the one they used to fight the Scar King. So I just didn't buy that one because I just wanted my Kong to look regular like this, and I wanted him to have his little battle axe right here. And here he is with that battle axe in his hands. Like I said, didn't have any trouble because the fists are actually like a nice softer rubber, a nice softer plastic. That way you can just bend his fingers and put that battle axe in his hand. Now, up next, we're going to be taking a look at Shimu with Frostbite Blast. I think I pronounced that name right, Shimu. Like I said, same packaging details. This figure right here is from that same movie, The New Empire, that just came out this year, as that Kong figure that we just looked at. This right here is the back of the box. You guys can see some other characters down here. You guys can see that Frostbite Blast coming out of its mouth. If you guys seen the movie, that's the powers that this Titan ends up having. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This right here is the barcode in case you guys need it. Let's go ahead and crack Shimu out of the box. And here's Shimu out of the box. You guys can see it comes with this little frost blast effect right here. Also comes with a tail you end up attaching on the back right there. Now, if you guys seen the movie, you'll know that the powers of this Titan is it basically ends up shooting out like a ice frost effect or whatever, ice frost blast. Basically, it'll freeze anything that it ends up hitting, and that's how it ended up freezing Kong's hand, and he ended up having like a gauntlet on it later. Now, this creature was controlled by the Scar King in the movie, and if I remember, I think they said that this is the Titan that was responsible for the Ice Age. I'm not really for sure. I might be wrong. Let me know down in the comments, okay? But like I said, it does come with this little freeze blast effect, which will end up hooking inside of his mouth, okay? Him or her, I don't know if this is a female or a guy. Has a tail right here. You end up hooking on the back, so let me go ahead and do that real quick. It ends up hooking on right there, but you might have to heat this up because it's a little bit hard, okay? And here it is with the tail on right there. It was a little bit hard to get on. You just got to either push it or maybe heat up that tail just a little bit to end up getting it to go in there, all right? But taking a look at the figure up close, I've already measured them out for you. Measured out to 4.5 inches tall from right here. That's if you have them on all four legs, 4.5 inches tall by about 9.5 inches long, okay? Like I said, you guys can obviously stand him up on the back of his legs if you guys want or whatever, but most part of the movie, he was, just like this walking on all fours, okay? But taking a look at him up close, you guys can see he does have that translucent effect on the back of his little spines going all the way down to his tail. Well, these ones right here are just painted, but these ones are all translucent right here and on the back of his head as well. You can see he does have some texture in his body as well. It's not just like all white plastic. He ends up having some little bit of textures in there. Eyes are just painted with a little blue dot right there, so nothing fancy in the eyes. And like I said, you guys can fit that little blast effect right here in his mouth, and I'll show you guys how to do that. There's like a little hole right there. That way you guys can hook that blast effect in there, okay? But yeah, pretty cool. It doesn't have too much articulation. I'll go over that real quick. This mouth does open, does close. You guys can see that there's a little hinge right there. It does go down, does go up, and it does rotate if you guys need it to. He's not going to be able to move like side to side, but his head will kind of rock back and forth if you need it to. His arms do come up. They do rotate right up here at this joint, but it's not going to bend at the elbows or at the knees. And it is going to move at the feet right here in the front. And in the back right there, okay? They're not going to go up and down, but that's where it's going to end up moving at, okay? But like I said, nothing in the knees, nothing in the elbows right here. And the tail is going to rotate around if you guys need it to because it is on that little ball joint thing right there, okay? So you can get the tail in different moves if you guys want. Let's go ahead and throw that little blast effect in there. There's a little peg right there that you guys can see. You end up just hooking that right into the top of his little mouth right there, and then end up closing it, and then you guys can see that he's shooting that little frost blast effect right there. Let's see if it stays in there when it's open. Yeah, it does. Ends up staying in there too, just like that. And yeah, pretty cool figure. He played a big role in the movie. Him or her, I can't remember. I think this might be a female Titan. I'm not for sure, but he did play a pretty big role in the movie or whatever. So if you guys ended up seeing it, so it's pretty cool that they ended up releasing a figure for this one too. Awesome. Let's move on to the next one. And here we have Godzilla. This character right here was in a movie from a few years ago called Monsterverse Kong. Still made by Playmates Toys, same size packaging. The only difference is it's going to have different designs on it just because he was in a different movie than that New Empire movie, okay? Name of the character is Godzilla, where protons scream. You can see he has some battle damage that you guys can reveal when you guys pull him apart and stuff. He does have a little blast effect right there. You guys turn them around, you guys can see the character right here. Now, this isn't actually an old toy. I just found this in stores myself at Target for about $9.99. I'm going to guess that they just re-released it with a different paint scheme, because if I remember, the old Godzilla ended up being like a really light gray. I'm not for sure. Let me know if I'm wrong down in the comments, but I know that I just got this from the store just this past week, okay? So you guys can find these at Target or at Walmart if you guys get out there and go searching, okay? Other than that, this is the barcode. Let's go ahead and crack Godzilla out of the box. And here's Mechagodzilla all out of the box. He came with this little energy effect right here that ends up fitting into his mouth. He also comes with a battle damage piece right here on his chest. I already snapped that in, but I'll show you guys it once I snap it out. And then he comes with his tail right here that you end up just hooking on in the back, and I'll show you guys how to do that in a second, okay? Now this right here is his little energy effect piece. I'm not sure if this is one of the same ones that Godzilla has. They just painted it like reddish orange or whatever. But if you guys know that some of the Godzilla, the $10 Playmates Godzilla figures all have like a little flame effect, energy effect as well. This might be the same mold, just a different color, all right? And you guys just, like I said, you just hook that right into his mouth when you open his mouth, okay? And then, like I said, this right here is his tail. You just hook that right onto the back, and I'll do that in a second. And then he does come with a little battle damage piece. But before we do that, I wanted to point out that this figure is actually a lot bigger than Kong. He ended up measuring out. Now, I have his legs bent all the way up right here at the knees, and he measured out to 7 1/4 standing up just like he does. But you guys are probably going to want him crouched down a little bit, so he'll end up being a little bit lower. But if you guys do stand him all the way up, he's going to end up being that size of a 7 1/4, okay? Now, like I said, he does have some battle damage right here, which I don't know why they didn't paint it, but, you know, it's $10, so you can't really complain. But you guys pull this piece off right here, and you guys can see some of his little components right there. But like I said, nothing's really painted, so you wouldn't even notice if this piece wasn't there besides that little black little slot right there where it hooks into, okay? But yeah, other than that, that's what that's supposed to be, a little battle damage piece. And you just hook that on just by sliding it right in there and then just pushing it right up against there, okay? But it's pretty cool. You know, something that you can rip off of him when he's, you know, when he's battling Godzilla and Kong, all right? On the back, you can see that little peg right there. And then you guys just hook that right into the tail. Just like that. Now, remember, this thing is going to end up being a lot longer. It's going to take up some space on your guys' shelves. So keep that in mind when you guys are going to be hooking on that tail, because it might end up not coming off as easy. Actually, it does. So that way, if you guys do want to display him later, you guys can remove that tail. That way, you guys can save space on some of your guys' shelves, all right? But yeah, pretty cool looking figure. I feel like the legs are a little bit loose right up here, so it makes him kind of fall over. But I'm sure that's probably what the tail is for, to end up helping him stand the way you guys need him to, okay? But yeah, lots of little components right here. I think it'd be nicer if they would have painted these, but for $10, you can't really complain. I might go in there and just, you know, throw some black wash in some of these little spots, maybe some light gray to make some of it shine a little bit more. But still, a really cool looking figure for the $10 price point. Like I said, there's lots of detail in here. You guys just might have to bring that out, you know, with a paintbrush if you guys are pretty good at detailing things and customizing figures. But yeah, lots of pretty cool looking work. I even love the fact that these are all like lit up as energy effect, just like how Godzilla's were and how his was in the movie. Like I said, you guys do open his mouth. You guys can see there's a little opening right there, and that's where you guys slide this in. You guys make sure it's up, because if it's down, it's going to look like he's just spraying down to the ground. But you guys just push that right in there, just like that. Then close his mouth, and you guys can see right here that now he looks like he's shooting that energy effect out. Let's move this out the way and see if I can get him to stand regularly. And yeah, just like that. Yeah, right there's how he's going to look. So let me go ahead and measure him out real quick. He ends up measuring out to 5 3/8, I'd say. About 5 3/8 with him crouched down like this with his knees bent the way they are, all right? But his tail ends up helping him stand up, okay? Now let's quickly go over his articulation real quick. His mouth does open and close. His head doesn't turn, doesn't look up and down or anything. His arms do come up only right here at the shoulders, and they do rotate at the shoulders. They don't bend at the elbow, which would have been pretty cool if they do, but that's probably why they end up having it like this. His wrists don't end up moving right here at these little claw mechanisms where his hands are. They don't rotate. They don't open and close. Like I said, he does have that little battle damage piece, but nothing rotates right here at the waist. His legs do kick out if you guys need them to. They do go up pretty far, actually. So I think that's where most of the articulation is, right up in here and going that way. They do bend at the knees as well. Not very far, but they do bend a little bit. And then his feet do rotate. So a little more articulation than what you've seen in the Kong figure that we just looked at. And then his tail can rotate around if you guys need it to, because like I said, it is on that little peg right there. But yeah, man, awesome looking figure. I do love it. I just think, like I said, just take a paintbrush to it and bring out some of them details that are already in the sculpting. Because like I said, they probably just didn't want to do that to keep the price point really low, because this is a kid's toy. You know, it is only a $10 toy, but I think it looks really cool. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And here we have the Titan Tamat from Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. This one right here was also a brand new toy. Cost the same price, $9.99, same dimensions. You can see it's going to have that same packaging of two of the characters that we already looked at. Name of the character is Tamat, and it's going to come with a little submarine right there. Same size packaging. This right here is the side of the box. This right here is the back. Some of the characters that you guys can find in stores. Like I said, they're all made by Playmates Toys, all right? This right here is the barcode in case you guys need it. Let's go ahead and crack Tamat out of the box. And here's Tamat out of the box. It does come with this little submarine right here, which didn't play any important role in the movie whatsoever. But it does come with this little tiny submarine. I'm not going to do nothing with this. It does have a little propeller, but nothing moves on it. Nothing opens. It's not big enough to fit any kind of figures or nothing. So I don't really care too much about that. But that's what it does come with. Now this is Tamat right here. I've already measured the figure out for you. Depending on what way you guys have him standing or how you guys have him spread out. Right here I have him at 4 inches. And if you guys move his head forward and his tail back, he ends up measuring out to about 9 inches. But like I said, it depends on what way you guys want to pose him, or if you guys want him standing up on his back legs or not to give him more height. That's totally up to you. This is a water creature. Now this creature didn't last too long in the movie, like literally like 1 minute before it ended up dying. So it didn't play an important role in the movie, but it's pretty cool that Playmates ended up making a toy for it. Taking a look at it up close, does look just like the creature that was in the movie, or excuse me, the Titan. Same colors, blue, different purple. If you guys remember, ended up glowing purple. It had like an energy effect of purple, and then these ended up lighting up as well, if I remember. But yeah, pretty cool looking figure. A little bit softer plastic than some of the other ones that we already looked at, but still pretty cool, man. Now the articulation on this figure, because it kind of looks like a catfish with these little whiskers right here. Head does go up, does go down, does rotate all the way around if you need it to. His mouth does open, does close. Arms do come up. They do go around if you guys need them to. It doesn't move right here at the hands or anything like that. And that goes for all four, both the legs and both the arms right here. Now he does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, excuse me, yeah, four different articulations in the body, 4 different points of articulation in the body. So you guys can get him in different poses, wind him up if you guys want. He is a water titan, so that's why it's meant to look like he's swimming or whatever. But you guys can see, you guys can stretch him out pretty far if you want to. You guys can put his tail up, twirl his body up like this if you guys want. So you guys can put him in all different kind of poses. But pretty cool looking figure. Lots of detail in here. I love the different little paint scheme. I love it when they throw a bunch of paint on some of these figures and not make them just like one solid color. I love the way that looks. His head looks pretty cool. His eyes are just painted with that little dot, but they still do look all right. It does have a lot of little scale texture right here in them. Kind of like a snake and something else. I don't know, like some kind of eel or something, electric eel or something. But pretty cool looking toy. I really like this one. Same price point, $10. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Now up next, we have one of the coolest characters I liked in these movies, which was King Ghidorah. Like I said, same size packaging. You can see that this character right here was from Godzilla, King of Monsters, which came out maybe like 5 or so years ago. Same size packaging and everything. You guys can see the name of it says Ultimate Titan King Ghidorah. He has some battle damage as well. Now, this figure right here, I actually bought, I think it was at the end of last year or really early this year. I can't remember, but I know I've had this figure since like, I think like January or February or something like that. But same price, $9.99. It was really hard to get because I think you can only get it like through Amazon or something like that, and their markup on it was like $30-something. But I think someone returned it to Target because I found it and it ended up only being like $9.99. This right here is the back of the box. You don't see any other characters on here. This right here is the barcode in case you guys need it. Let's go ahead and crack Ghidorah out of the box. And here's King Ghidorah out of the box. He does end up coming with 2 tails. One of the tails already attached. That way he could stand up like this for this review. And then he does have 2 wings you guys have to attach as well. And then he does have a little piece of body damage right here where you guys can go ahead and pop that on or pop that back off. Okay, and I'll show you that in a second. All right. Now I'll measure him out for you guys in a minute after I put his wings on. So I wanted to show you guys how I'd end up putting the tail on. Here's one right here, and then they just push on right here inside these little pegs right there, okay? It doesn't matter really what side. You kind of want to make sure that the one that's kind of pointing this way is kind of going that way, and then the one that's pointing to the left is on the left side, basically, all right? That way they're not like pointing towards each other, but it doesn't really matter. Both of them will end up hooking on, but you kind of want them separated going like this. Now, they are, was it really soft plastic, but there's no kind of bendy wiring here, so you can't like bend the tails up like that or nothing like that and expect them to stay in that pose. It's just nice soft plastic, okay? Now, let's go ahead and attach his wings real quick. This right here is his left side of his wing, which you'll end up just hooking right into this little spot right there. You hit click in. This right here is the right. You end up just hooking it right into there just like that. And you guys will hear it click in there just like that. Now, the wings are not articulated wings, so they're not going to like flap or anything like that. They're kind of stuck in there just like that. Now, I think it was Jack Pacific when that movie Godzilla King of Monsters came out, I think they had the license and they made a King Ghidorah figure. I think they made like one or two. One was bigger, one was smaller. And I think them wings like articulated right here and right here or something like that. But I never had those toys, so I can't do a comparison for you guys. But so far, I really like the way this figure looks, especially for the $10 price point. Like I said, when this figure first came out, I think it was last year, if I remember, by Playmates, that you couldn't find it anywhere. I remember seeing it on Amazon for like $30, $40 or something like that, and I was like, I'm not buying into it. So I was really happy when I ended up finding it at Target, and it wasn't even in the toy section. It was over by like the electronics and stuff on that back wall with all the Funkos and everything like that. And I've had this toy for, like I said, about 9 months or so, but still a really cool looking figure. I'm really happy I was able to get this one. I really like this this Titan inside that movie, or I guess he wasn't even a Titan. He was an alien, I guess, if I remember, if you guys seen the movie. But pretty cool looking figure. Like I said, there's no kind of articulation of wings, so you can't make them flap. All three of the heads do have articulation. They do rotate around or whatever. You can kind of move them back and forth if you want. Also, all three of the heads do move. The mouths don't open. They're already kind of set open just like that, so you can't open and close them. But like I said, you can move the heads around if you guys need to. Move the necks as well. Right here at the legs, they do kick up. You can rotate them a little bit, but they don't like kick out that way or anything like that. No kind of toe articulation. The feet don't pivot or nothing like that. It's kind of stuck just in that stance, but you guys can move the legs up and down. Like I said, we already went over the tail. They can rotate around, but they're not like in a bendy wire, so you can't bend them up or not. So he's going to take up a little bit of room. So let's go ahead and measure him out for you guys, because he's a pretty wide figure. The tallest part of the wings is 7 inches right there, and then I would say he's 10 inches long, okay? Well, 10 inches wide from the wings. And then the back of the tail, I would say he's maybe about 9 inches from this tail to the front of the head right there, all right? So make sure you guys have that kind of space before you guys go ahead and get this figure and want to display him, all right? Because he's pretty wide, but, you know, not as big as like a neck of Goliath figure, nothing like that with them wings, because those gargoyle figures, them wingspans are really huge. But awesome looking figure. You guys can see all the texture in the neck. You guys can see the little texture in all the wings and everything like that. You see all the scales coming down right here. I like the way this figure looks. I might throw a little bit of black wash on here just to bring out some more of the scales and textures all up in here. But like I said, for $10, you really can't pass up this figure. It's a pretty cool looking figure, especially if you guys like the Godzilla and Kong movies, all right? Let's go ahead and move on to the next figure. Oh, real quick, I forgot about the battle damage. You guys can just peel that off and it'll just show some skin right there, some flesh, like when him and Godzilla were fighting inside that movie. And then you guys can just pop this right back on, all right? And here we have Scar King from the new Empire movie that just came out. He's the main antagonist in that movie. You guys can see the name of the character, Scar King, with whiplash. Same dimensions as all the other boxes already looked at. This right here is the back of the box. You guys can see that he can take that off of his chest and use it as a weapon right there. Some of the other characters you guys can find in stores. Right there's the barcode in case you guys need it. Let's go ahead and crack the Scar King out of the box. And here's the Scar King all out of the box. The only accessory he comes with is this little skeleton bone chain right here that he has wrapped around his chest that can come undone, and he can put it in his hand and use it as a weapon just like he did in that new movie, New Empire. But yeah, pretty cool looking figure. He measures out to the same as Kong at 6 inches. That's with his legs bent the way I have him all the way up. You guys can obviously crouch him down if you guys want to, but he does measure out to 6 inches tall, all right? Pretty cool looking figure. I did like him as a villain in that new Godzilla Kong, New Empire movie. I thought he played a pretty good villain, the way he had control of all the other apes in that movie. But But yeah, man, awesome looking figure, man, in my opinion. Now, like I said, these figures are only 10 bucks. You're not going to get amazing detail in the paint. You guys can see it just looks like they just took a little bit of like an orange paintbrush and just painted in right here. But like I said, they're only 10 bucks. You're not going to get amazing detail for that price point. I do got to say, so far with the figures that I looked at, there's amazing sculpt work. If you guys just throw a little bit of paint on there and bring out some of those features, it'll end up making these figures look really cool. And that's probably what I'm going to end up doing when I get a little bit of extra time. But you guys can see his eyes are blue, painted with that little black dot right there in them. His teeth are showing just a little bit. He's not going to have any kind of mouth articulation, so nothing's going to open in there. But yeah, man, pretty cool looking figure. And out of the ones that we looked at so far, he's the one that does have upper torso articulation. So let's quickly go over that real fast. His head does rotate all the way around if you guys need it to. It doesn't look up, doesn't look down. Arms do come up, do rotate. They do move right here at the elbow. They do bend, they do rotate as well. His wrists do rotate if you guys need them to as well. What is it? You can only fit his chain in this hand right here, so you're not going to be able to do that in this one, obviously, because it's already closed. It does have upper torso articulation, so you can, make him rock side to side or rotate him around if you guys need to, but nothing down here at the waist, all right? Legs do come up pretty far. If you guys want to bend them out just like Kong, you just got to move them, and then they'll kick out like that. They do bend right here at the knees. They don't rotate at the knees, and he doesn't have any kind of ankle pivot or toe articulation, all right? But yeah, pretty cool looking figure, man. Let's go ahead and remove this little piece right here, which is pretty easy. You just pull it out right there, and then you end up snapping it in his hand, and I'll do that for you 1 second. And here he is with the bone whip all in his hand. Like I said, you just detach it from the mouth right there. It ends up hooking into his hand. This is bendy, so you guys can bend it just a little bit. But I don't think there's any kind of bendy wire. So whatever way you bend it, it's just going to kind of curl back up into that circle unless you guys maybe heat it up a little bit. And you guys might be able to bend it the way you guys want. But I think it's meant to be in a circle because it was wrapped around his chest right there. But yeah, pretty cool looking figure. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And last but not least, we got my boy Godzilla. This Godzilla right here is from the movie that came out a few years ago, Godzilla vs. Kong. This right here is called the Hong Kong Battle Godzilla, because if you remember at the end of the movie when him and King Kong ended up getting into a fight, they were all like purple and bluish and stuff like that. So that's why he's going to end up looking like that. Now, this figure you're not going to find in stores. I got this from Walmart. I think it was a Walmart exclusive. And like I said, it was like 4 or so years ago when I got this toy. So you're not going to find this in stores. You're going to have to get this off the secondary market, okay? Now, most all the Godzillas all have this same mold right here. They're all just painted different. I just really like the way that this one ended up looking. And that's why I ended up getting this color one right here. And I didn't buy any of the other ones, all right? This right here is the back of the box. You guys can see some of the other figures that were out around that time. I don't have Warbat because he's extremely hard to find. I never ended up finding him. And I did find the Skullcrawler, so but he's already out of the packaging. But I'll make sure when I do the review at the end that I show you guys what they all look like sitting next to each other as far as scale-wise, all right? This right here is the barcode in case you guys need it. Let's go ahead and crack Godzilla out of the box. And here's Godzilla all out of his packaging. You guys can see comes this little energy blast effect right here. He does come with a little chest piece of battle damage, which I'll show you in a second. I've already attached it on. And then he comes with his tail right here. I've already attached that on. That way it helped him stand. But there's like a little ball right there. You guys just push it on just like we did some of the other figures that we already looked at, okay? Now, I've already measured him out. He ends up being 6 inches tall, just like Kong and some of the other figures. And it's 10 inches long from the back of the tail to right here in the front. So most of the figures that we've already looked at are up 6 inches and by 10 inches in some way. You've seen the wing effect on King Ghidorah. His wings are about 10 inches long. And the same with Shimu, the Frost Titan. I think it was about 9.5, almost 10 inches from the front to the back, all right? Now, this figure does, like I said, have a little bit of battle damage. So if you guys want to peel this off right here, let's go ahead and get to it if I can. Come here. There it is. Got to get it from the bottom. But yep, a little bit of battle damage right there if you guys want to show him. Looked like he got cut open when he was fighting Kong or whatever. But then you guys can just push this right back on. Just like that. Now, taking a look at the side of them, like I said, a lot of these Godzilla figures by Playmates are all the same mold. It's just some of them are going to have a different effect or whatever, a different paint scheme. And that's why I really like this one when I bought it a couple years ago. Like I said, it's a Walmart exclusive. I just love the way this thing looked. I love that last fight scene at the end of the movie, so I had to get this figure. Let's go over articulation real quick. You guys can see a line here at the neck or at the head, but his head doesn't actually go up or down or rotate at all. His mouth does open. That way you guys can put that little blast effect in his mouth. And just like the other figures, you guys just sit it in there just like that, and it looks like he's shooting it out, all right? Arms do come up. They don't bend at the elbow. They don't end up moving right here at the wrist. You can't like pull them out or nothing like that. Legs do come up. They don't kick out that way. There's no kind of knee articulation or nothing like that. Now there's a line right here in the feet, as you guys can see, and it looks like the feet actually turn, but when I do start turning them, you guys can see the plastic starting to break apart right there from the two different pieces of plastic that are his legs. So I wouldn't recommend doing that because I think they're meant to move, but when I start moving them just a little bit, it ends up, coming apart that little piece of plastic that connects these two legs, like I said. You guys can see it does have a clear translucent body underneath, which is pretty dope because you guys can kind of see through it. I love the way that looks. Pretty sure this would look pretty cool with a black light or something. You guys see all the texture detail right in here. Same with the back of his fin. Nice softer plastic right here. He does have articulation in his tail. It can go back and forth, can go up just a little bit, down just a little bit, but you guys can rotate it around if you need to. Like I said, these are smaller figures. They're only 6 inches, but because with the tails or the wings, they're going to take up a little bit of room. So make sure you have enough display area in order to display these figures, okay? But yeah, man, I really like this figure right here. Let's go ahead and show all these Titans together, okay? And here's all the Titans together that I have so far. Like I said, I am missing Warbat, and I am missing Mothra that I think Playmates is actually going to be releasing pretty soon this year. So there will be a Mothra figure. So hopefully I'll be able to get that, and then I'll be able to add it in to this collection of Titans, okay? Now, I didn't go over this Skullcrawler figure right here because this Skullcrawler figure I already had open, but he ended up measuring out to 12 inches long. So he's the longest of all the Titans so far out of all of these figures. He measured out to 12 inches long by 4 inches tall. His articulations up here in the arms, up here in the elbows, they do swivel as well. He doesn't have any kind of hand pivot, nothing like that. His mouth does open, does close, does have battle damage piece that I'm missing right now, but he has a piece of battle damage that goes right there to cover up that skin right there, okay? But this was a pretty cool figure. I think this was from Godzilla, or not Godzilla, but Kong Skull Island before Playmates had the rights, and then when Playmates got the rights, they ended up releasing him a couple years ago in that Godzillaverse Kong toy line, okay? But yeah, pretty cool figure right there also as well. I just didn't have him new in the box. That's why I didn't review him, all right? Now, I don't have any complaints about most of these figures. The only small, very small complaint is the legs on Mechagodzilla. The legs end up making him kind of fall forward, so he looks like his head is kind of pointing down. I don't like that, but I'm sure a little bit of putty or glue inside of the joints will end up helping him be a little bit harder to not end up falling over so easily, because he's not very top heavy. But it's not that he falls over, it's just that he ends up leaning, which you'll see right here. So he ends up leaning a little bit. Not too bad, but I want him to kind of stand up a little bit more, but the leg joints hooked to his body are just a little bit loose, okay? And also, I do want to show you guys something else. These little flame effects that are on Ghidorah, those did not come with him, but I would like to let you guys know that if you guys have any of those Flash movie Spin Master figures, them little 4-inch figures, I think these things were like $5 or something like that. The little effects end up hooking on. I end up taking the effects from the Young Barry, if you guys seen the Flash movie. I end up taking those little the little lightning effects and hooking them right into the mouth of King Ghidorah, and they look really cool right there, just like that. These did not come with the figure. I just wanted to show you guys where I ended up getting them from. Like I said, the Flash movie Spin Master 4-inch figures, those little lightning bolts end up hooking on really good right onto Ghidorah's mouth. But yeah, other than that, man, really cool toys for the price range of $10. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. And until next time, stay cool.